You got to start the Zoom. Yeah, the Zoom recording.
Recording in progress.
All right. Both of those are up and running. And we are back. So we are. All right. As we return to A Crown of Cold Iron. Well, last time, the party continued to make their way through the ruins beneath the Raven Palace, what was generally held to be a historic palace in the city of Queensboro, which seems to, in fact, contain some kind of large, perhaps sentient, extra dimensional ruin underneath that also seems to be an armory for all of the most dangerous artifacts left behind by the palace's owner, the Raven King himself. To assist his longtime childhood friend Alex, the party has Cyrus has brought the party along to investigate a group called the Kingsguard, a human supremacist group that has somehow stumbled their way into the ruins beneath the Raven Palace and seem to be right on the precipice of actually walking away with some dangerous, powerful magical items. Last time, the party was attacked by some kind of shape changing pseudo undead, might be the way to put it. These creatures that had the ability to steal the appearance and abilities of creatures that they cut with their strange knives. Once you defeated them, you found that the knives seemed to be attached to basically desiccated corpses that they were moving around. The knives, which had been separated amongst the four creatures, snapped back together, creating one strange magical dagger that, for the moment, Alex has been holding on to, but you all have not gotten to investigate yet. So we left off. You all were hearing noises. You're at a T juncture, and you were hearing noises to the south. And Alex had brought you word just before the craziness happened that the Kingsguard were locked in combat with some kind of massive undead creature with what was described as a blood sword. So what do you all want to do?
Well, I don't want to go save the Kingsguard, but I also don't want them to win.
It's a very
I want to make sure they don't
balance.
get something nice while we are going in a different direction. So, southward, yo.
Okay.
All right. So y'all want to follow in the direction that the Kingsguard were going?
Might as well.
Again, want is a strong word, but yes.
All right. Adding a few things. Okay. So as you all sort of look down the juncture, everybody make a perception check.
18.
Be right back.
Hey. 18.
All right. You all can definitely hear. There's a muted quality to the sound down here. These stone corridors should just echo like crazy. But sound doesn't seem to carry as much as you'd expect. But you all specifically catch the retort of high-powered firearms being discharged in close quarters. And it sounds like it's coming further down this hallway.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Exciting.
I guess we're going this way.
Okay.
So as you all walk along, each of you roll a d20. Oh, that was quicker than I expected. While I'm thinking about it, because you all did such a good job and sort of leaned into the craziness of the doppelganger mechanics for the last fight, everybody take inspiration.
Woo!
It's also to offset resources you might have had to use to attack yourself.
So just flat d20 roll?
We don't need it right now. I was deciding whose filler we were going to jump into. All right, so everybody made a perception check. You hear the sounds of gunfire coming from the south.
I guess we go this way.
Yep.
All right. All right.
Putting the squishy one in front.
They were never seen again. All right. There is a door coming up on your right, and you see there's another T intersection out ahead.
Okay. Well, I am sure that the gunfire is not coming from that door, but let's make sure we don't leave any monsters behind us.
Fair.
All right.
You want me to go in first?
Yeah, Lexi, go smash.
Okay.
You want Lexi to smash or Cyrus to sneak?
Actually, let's let Cyrus sneak first, and then I'll be ready with a smash if necessary. How about?
All right. Cyrus opens the door sneakily.
All right. Oh, and I guess I need to move Alex. Won't move themselves. Okay. So if y'all are approaching sneakily, everybody make a stealth check. And then Cyrus will make... are you checking out the door in any way, or are you just going to...
Yeah, I'll give it a once over.
All right. Then you also make an investigation check.
Okay.
13 on stealth.
19 on stealth.
24 on stealth, 14 on investigation.
All right. The door doesn't appear to be trapped. It might once have been locked, but as with many things here, it seems like perhaps either time or a looter of eras past has managed to destroy part of the lock. You do notice this is like a nice door. It stands out a little bit because, this is I think the fourth door you've come to. The last three have been fairly plain. Sort of common wood that you still can find growing outside the city. It looks like simple, functional. This isn't ostentatious by any means, but like the wood is of a noticeably nicer quality, and it has some kind of like nice stain or finish to it. For this time period, this would have been, very upper middle class, lower upper class, somewhere in that neck of the woods. All right. So you just want to go ahead and open it?
Yep.
All right. You find yourself in much smaller room than the one before. But that vibe sort of continues from the door. Everything in here is just a little nicer than the last room. The tables are similarly nicer. They're a little smaller. The chairs have a little bit of cushion to them. And this room almost has... Let's go ahead and have everybody make an intelligence check.
Are you gonna make one too, Macy?
12.
Wah, 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 wah.
Intelligence.
19.
Wait, where am I?
Oh wait, that was an intelligence save, not an intelligence check. But
If you're not proficient, it's the same.
yeah,
Wait, where am I supposed to?
scroll up.
I did, and it was giving me.
Intelligence.
Right. Weird. So this?
Yes.
Okay, because for whatever reason it was.
The one about it.
Okay. It was giving me dumb. There we go. All right, 17.
All right.
Did better than me.
So, with the combination of, again, this strange deja vu you all are having, with Cyrus, you in particular would notice this. The last room had... The last couple of rooms, they're painting a portrait of castle guards. This is sort of the overwhelming impression across these rooms. You passed a guard station. You passed a sort of rough and tumble dining hall. And so, looking around this room, the surviving furniture, this room actually has some bookshelves to it with some actual, like, books. But you also see a lot of medieval equivalent of, like, office furniture. You would gather that this is probably like an officer's chambers.
Okay.
Anything worthwhile?
Make an investigation check.
Woo, an 11.
It's just enough.
How's a 25?
All right. So, Cyrus, you look around this room, and honestly, the layout of this kind of room has not really changed in centuries. There is a certain practical layout, and you have a very good idea of where the most important things would be. You find a partial list of some of the items that were stored in the armory down here. You find what looks like guard rotation schedules. While you're doing that, Auric, you find something you maybe wish you hadn't.
Dun dun dun.
So mixed in here are logbooks. But where common soldiers might just write, did patrol, 3 carts came through robber in jail. The officers, the literacy is a little higher, probably more upper class, probably come from noble families or well-established families. So these have a lot more just details of life as they were living it. And you're just sort of errantly flipping through one of these, and you find 2 entries back to back. They weren't originally back to back. It seems like the intervening pages have been eaten away by some critter of some kind. In the first passage, it talks in there is a brevity that strikes you as someone who is shutting off. And it's the description of an incident that occurred out in the countryside outside of the city. Guards were dispatched. There was a Fey attack on a village outside of the town. And the guard is relaying this in very clinical, precise language. And you gather the first thing that happened before the townspeople even realized what was going on. Children started going missing from the town. And it might have been happening for days or weeks, but by the time the next thing happened, most of the children were already gone, which is a blessing, because the next thing that happened was a cloud of will-o-wisps flew through the village. And when I say through the village, they swept through like a rain of fire. By the time that the guards got there, most of the villagers were dead, and most of the buildings were completely burned down. The guard goes on and describes, again, very clinically, putting out the fires, bringing the survivors back to town. And there's a gap. And based on the number of sort of intervening pages, because you can see where parts of them still remain, you would guess it's several months later, and it's the same guard, and it's the same clinical language. And it describes a reprisal. A group of knights from the palace went out and in another village they had discovered some standing stones. And the stones were a temporary gap. It was a thin place into Fairy. And with the assistance of some magic devised by the Raven King, they were able to take cold iron into Fairy. And not just weapons, but almost like dusted cold iron. And this officer, in very precise but unemotional detail, describes essentially salting the earth of a Fey village with the cold iron. And you would know that this is the equivalent of, it's like acidic nuclear waste. You imagine that there's a good chance that area of Fairy still has not healed. So Cyrus, you find a list. A partial inventory. Part of it is gone. But it has names on it. And the names strike you as interesting. And I will pull up my list. On the list, you find I put a lot of magical items on the list recently. There we go. One name that sort of drew your attention was the Shifra's Dagger. And around it, you see other names. Ravening Bracers. Oops. Guess I need to be over here. Here we go. The Blood Moon Blade. And the Fey Flame Torch. And you can see that this is only a section of a list. My dog just groaned at high volume behind me. It's clear that this is only part of a list. You can actually see like partially where like the page is torn across other words. What else would they have? What was your roll?
25.
25. On a 25, you also find a greater potion of healing tucked away in one of the drawers.
Nice.
It's also noteworthy because, as you would imagine, most liquid items would not hold up this long. The glass is unlike anything you've ever seen. It's almost like tiny runes have been etched into the glass as it was made. And the dark red liquid inside seems perfectly preserved. You also notice there are other parts of the room that have already been rifled through. All right. There are 2 doors that go out the back of this room.
We'll go check out the southern door.
All right. This door is the same as the one leading in here, but the lock on this one is still intact. And you can actually see, it looks like the lock has been like kicked and hacked at, but they were unsuccessful in breaking through.
All right. Well, I will back up and give it the old thieves' tools try with the mage hand.
All right.
I know a great spell that opens doors. It's called Fireball.
It's very dangerous.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's somehow I guess in playing with my expertises, I have difference between sleight of hand and thieves' tools. So that's actually a thieves' tools check, not a sleight of hand check.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's 26.
All right. It's a little tricky. Ironically, in trying to get the door open, it looks like they actually like smashed the mechanism closed.
Yeah.
But you're easily able to like, especially with the mage hand, which can like bend and stretch in weird ways. You're easily able to like get just the right tool in there, and the door just. This looks like. Oops. You don't know what it looks like because I haven't hit reveal. This is a small but what was probably once very nicely appointed bedroom. There is a, by modern standards, the bed is fairly small, but just sort of guesstimating your best guess historically, this is a fairly luxurious space compared to how most people lived. This room also has a small desk. There's a chest at the foot of the bed, and actually a dresser in the corner.
Cool. I'm gonna search it.
All right. Which one do you want to search?
Really, all three. Do I have to do them in order? We'll go chest first, if so.
Okay, and how do you want to... Are you just going to plunge in? Niffler style? Stuffing things in your extra-dimensional stomach?
Yep.
That
just
would
going
actually
for it.
be a fantastic PC race. Like, an acquisitive race of mole people with bags of holding in their stomach that, like, you know, like big fuzzy round Kinder, basically. I'm gonna work on that later. Okay, chest. Crack it open. Several items in here appear to have decayed over time. It looks like there's a pair of very, very worn boots that have been partially eaten by something. There is a nice cape folded up. What else would be in there? Boots, cape. There's some random mementos.
There's a squeaky toy.
And there's a cat in there. Excuse me. Marking this down so I don't forget. You find an unusual item. It is it's like a silver necklace, but the charm, like there's like an amulet hanging on the end, and it's just a small fragment of dark iron.
Okay.
You also find a ring of a similar material, but you find that the ring is very cleverly made. The iron is almost like a shell that overlays a we'll say a copper ring. Like you can see it on the interior. That way it doesn't rust against the finger.
Well, I've just decided that Cyrus has always wanted a cape. So regardless of whether or not that is magical, Cyrus is taking the cape along with the necklace and ring.
All right.
Yeah, I thought the cape would look good on Lexi. Oh well.
I don't need a cape because that would get in the way.
Of your barbarianing?
Yeah. Yeah, no cape. Okay.
Does he like try it out?
Duh.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna like run I'm gonna do the magnifying glass over all three, the Arcanist magnifying glass to tell if they're giving off anything magical.
I don't think so. I think she's standing up.
So it gives you a. Whoops! I'm looking at your inventory. I can tell what it does. To make a check regarding the properties. Okay, so roll an Arcana check, and so you're adding your proficiency again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not yet. Okay. There you go.
So 16 plus another 3, 19.
All right. So the ring and the necklace don't seem to have any particular magic to them. Other than that, cold iron is, just particularly baneful to all things fairy. And actually, Auric, where are you?
So I was definitely in the corner where Cyrus had been when he opened the door, so I could cover him without going in.
You can practically smell it from where you're standing.
Put it back, put it back, put it back, put it back, put it back.
There you go. Last one.
Cold iron presses on your senses, all of them. Like,
You don't want to try that?
it's like a distortion,
You're all
a
done.
negative distortion in the world around you. With your Arcana check, you just know, like, yeah, this was probably not inherently magical, but was probably more of a practical kind of folk magic. Just in the sense of, if you got some cold iron on you, you've got a better chance at getting away from some fairy that tries to snatch you in the night. The cloak, on that roll, it strikes you as odd that the cloak is intact. The boots, whatever got the boots, would almost certainly have gone after the cloak first. But nothing seems to have nested in it. It doesn't seem to be torn or fading. It doesn't give you enough of a vibe to think that it is any kind of like practical magic. But you suspect it has at least a touch of magic to have survived this long.
Okay. Does the cold iron... So the cold iron doesn't bother Cyrus?
No.
Okay.
That is maybe a strange thing. I don't know how Cyrus was sort of processing this concept of like not being fully human. But I think there would maybe be a weird something here of smart money said if you weren't 100% human, you were probably some kind of fae. Or something Fey adjacent.
Right.
From what you understand now, your background through Mort is something substantially different. And so cold iron is no issue for you.
Okay.
Put it back. Put it back. Put it back.
Do you think it'd be any help against whatever else is awake down here, or is it just gonna distract you?
I mean, if whatever's down here is Fey, then sure, but I don't know. It sounded like a zombie. I don't know that cold iron would affect a zombie.
Go ahead and everyone can do this. Everyone make an Arcana check with advantage. Ironically, all three of you have some reason for knowing this.
21.
All right, I rolled a 19 and a 20, so
All right.
because I don't have any proficiency, I am at 0.
22.
All right. All three of you, this sort of catches. So this is the armory of the Raven King, a famous human sorcerer king. The very powerful magical dagger you found manipulating these creatures in the last room was of a decidedly fey make. You feel like it might not be entirely fey items down here, but probably there are also like prizes of war, weapons that were too dangerous to be left on the battlefield. So there might very well be some fey things down here. And if you had to put a name to it, the things that you just killed were as much fey as they were undead.
Okay, bring the cold iron.
We'll keep it away from you. We're not going to touch you with it.
That's one way to make sure that I'm in the back of the group.
Well, and Auric, you would know this. So this makes you a little uncomfortable. This amount of cold iron, sort of unprocessed, unenchanted, it's not really a threat. It'd be like if someone handed you, like... It'd be the tactile equivalent of, like, biting into a pizza roll that's just come out of the microwave. Like, it's painful, but it's not gonna, like, kill you. You're just gonna regret your decision making. But... like a sprite, a wisp, some like small fairy, this would be very dangerous.
Yep.
All right, let's check out that desk.
All right. So again, this desk is a little nicer than what you would normally expect. By modern standards, it's not a very fancy desk. But by ancient standards, it's real fancy because it has a locked drawer with a fairly good lock on it. Nothing seems to have survived on the surface. There's like little scraps of paper that might have once been various reports or maps or whatever. But there is a drawer, and the drawer is rattling a little.
All right, let's open it up.
All right, make a thieves' tools check.
18.
You're pretty easily able to pop it open. So the drawer comes open, and even in this drawer that's been sealed, some things have not survived. But this actually makes it really easy to see what's left. There is a threadbare pouch of truly ancient gold coins, like 1,500 years old. They're the equivalent of about 20 gold worth of currency, but to the right collector, they might be worth quite a bit more. Also, there is a scroll, which is automatically strange because it's one of the only surviving pieces of loose paper that you have found.
Take them both.
All right. That seems to be it in here.
All right. Does that other door? Did the other door in the main room come into here too, or that goes to a different room?
Just eyeballing it, it looks like there is probably a very similar room to the north of you through the other door.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll go pop over there too.
All right.
I'll
Having
invite
just-
Auric to take a look at the scroll.
Auric, are you still in human form, or are you back to Dragonborn?
I think I'm still human.
Um,
Mostly because I forgot to change back to a dragon.
the scroll is uncomfortably warm to the touch. Not painful, but decidedly warm.
I unconsciously go back to dragon form to try and keep it from burning my hand.
It lights your hand up. 1 second.
Wrong decision there.
Do you have no, you don't have fire resistance, do you? You have cold resistance.
I can burn a sorcery point to get fire resistance.
Well, it deals 3 points of fire damage to you.
Ow!
Actually, that's not true. This would be 3 points of necrotic damage.
Oh.
I change back to a human.
It goes back to just being uncomfortably warm. You actually have it's fading, but you have like a scroll-shaped patch of like almost like someone has spilled like smeared ink across your hand. And you can actually see there are like runes impressed in that ink, and like your hand kind of stings still.
Can I read the runes
Make an Arcana check.
with my burned hand? Oh, hey, 16.
Well, from context, you are able to look this over. This is a scroll of protection from evil and good. But the scroll has been truncated. Basically, there's a shortcut in the way the magic was written so that it was less difficult to write, but it only protects against Fae. And what was your Arcana roll?
It was a 16.
I'll give you this one for free. This style of magic is distinctive and familiar.
Huh. Cyrus, why is everything you pick up want to hurt me?
Sorry.
Well, actually, that does tell us something, though. Because this is a scroll of hurting Fae, and it's not hurting me right now.
And Cyrus,
Somebody-
you had no ill effect at all.
Yeah. So somebody is decent at their job, but not great.
And Auric specifically, the structure of this spell reminds you of a couple of spells that you have learned in the last 3 or 4 months.
How old is this scroll?
Like 1,500 years.
How old is the Blackthorn family?
I was about to say.
Over 1,500 years.
Girlfriend's some.
Vela, your ancestor's trying to kill me.
Yeah. She's get on her people.
But he's not great at it. So
I mean, to be fair, it wasn't even casting the scroll. He
Well, okay.
picked up the scroll and it
yeah,
hurt
okay.
him.
All right, good point. Maybe he's better than I'm giving him credit for.
Also, this is what like a random like guard lieutenant kept in the back of their desk drawer. Y'all are in an armory.
Okay, so I'm staying in human form for the rest of our time down here.
And as you're in human form, over the next like couple of minutes, the sort of splotch fades, and your hand quits stinging.
If Vela wants to know what my hand said, she can read the scroll.
Reading somebody's palm to a new level there.
Okay. The other door, because you just opened an identical lock, easily pops open. This one had also been abused, but had not come open. You find an almost identical room. There are little touches that are different. The writing desk in this one is more sort of perfunctory. Also, hanging on the wall is a fine silvery rapier that is just very gently glowing. It's like mounted on the wall. It decidedly does not look like, like a weapon you're just going to draw and go fight. It looks like a trophy.
All right.
Okay. Take it.
All right.
Is that gonna burn me too?
Nah.
So you see this?
No, I'm back in the hallway.
Oh. When you see it, let me know.
Or it's like, I'm gonna stay away from that.
Cyrus will pull out the potion of greater healing and just like slosh it around and be like, I got this for you later.
We're gonna run some tests here, but first off, just so you know, you're not gonna die.
All right. This room does also have same sort of setup: desk, wardrobe, chest. The desk does not even have a drawer. It's just like a small flat surface. You're getting sort of a portrait of two very different people customizing very similar spaces. You feel like you have left the room of more of an academic, someone who is a writer, someone who puts a lot of thought into intellectual exercise. This strikes you as the room of a fighter.
Okay.
And you can actually see there are a couple of other places where it looks like weapons were mounted in this way, including a space by the door that does look like where you might put a weapon to grab very quickly on your way out. But all of those spots are empty.
Yeah. We'll check their we'll check the chest anyway.
In the chest, you find a helmet. Also, this chest, the other one, like even the things that had decayed had been placed very neatly. In this one, it's a mess. Like there's like a lot of decaying fabric in here. You get the impression of what was maybe once like a blanket, like some extra shirts. There's like 3 boots for some reason, and none of them are like. Not only are they worn, but it also looks like they weren't clean before they started being gnawed on. Nothing in the desk.
You guys will double check the wardrobe just to be sure.
Oh, let's see what's in the wardrobe. You pull the wardrobe open. There was a lot more clothing in here. You find scraps of what looks like uniforms, and you can actually tell the difference in the quality. You find a lot of like training uniforms. You find like duty uniforms, but then also there's like some scraps of like nice like fine fabrics. You find a sort of nice white shirt that is weirdly intact.
Okay.
And make sure that's it. Oh, you also find it's a strange. It looks like a piece of armor, but it's a very fine material, and it actually looks like it's smoldering slightly.
All right, we'll pick it up.
All right. And with that, you feel like you've pretty well ransacked this room.
Okay. That probably reminds me, I didn't check the wardrobe in the first room, so I'll go back and do that.
Lamppost in the back.
There's not really... It looks like nothing much has survived in this one.
Okay. All right, so I forget. Can I get any more details using the magnifying glass on any of these without using the identify property, or?
It'll give you kind of general stuff, but as far as like specifically what it does, it doesn't go quite that far.
Okay.
So you might be able to gather things like a good guess at function, or maybe school of magic, and it might also help you interpret sort of context that you found them in.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So, if there's anything else to learn about, yeah, Cyrus probably just whatever he can learn about any of it: cape, rapier, helmet, shirt, or the armor. He'd try to give it a shot.
Auric, are you still hiding?
I'm hanging out with Alex.
All right.
So, I'd come back into the main room so I could like lay it out on a table and spread it out.
So go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Okay. And that's, oh wait, no, it's not advantage. It's the extra efficiency. 16 total.
With a 16, you definitely gather that the cloak, the rapier, the helm, the shirt, and this sort of fine chainmail are all magical, but not very much. For example, the sort of smoldering chain, you notice that it like isn't burning anything that it's touching, and it doesn't hurt your hands. It doesn't burn the table. You guess that it's probably an illusion. You don't know if it implies some other property, but the smoldering effect definitely seems to be an illusion.
Okay.
You notice the white shirt is weirdly pristine. Even that cloak you pulled out, like, it looked preserved, but not like brand new. That white shirt is immaculate. Even to a degree that was probably strange for this time period. This looks like a shirt you would go into like a... This is like opening like a crisp white shirt from a tailor or department store today. It would have been very strange in this time period for something to be this preserved. The rapier glows. The helm seems weirdly dark inside.
Okay. What the heck? Cyrus puts on the cape.
So I hope you all are watching this. So Cyrus, the cape, and the cape immediately dramatically like in the wind behind you, just like perfect, like, you know, like cliche epic fantasy shot. The hero arrives and the cape in the wind.
And based on the map, Lexi's the only one to see it.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm standing in the doorway. I can see him through the doorway.
And you gather that that's all the cape does.
Okay.
That is a cloak of billowing.
Yes. Awesome.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yep. All right. So Cyrus will. Let's see. We determined there's light down here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was gonna say Cyrus might have kept the rapier out for light, but if that's not necessary, he'll probably just tuck the rest of it away, unless Lexi wants armor that looks like it's on fire.
Sure, why not?
So what did you find that's going to hurt me this time, Cyrus?
I got a fancy glowing sword.
And there we are.
Yeah.
Auric, make a history check with advantage.
Fancy glowing sword that would probably burn me if I touched it. So 17, you said with advantage?
Yeah.
17.
All right. This sword would not burn you. This is a Fey weapon. And
Nice.
specifically, this is the weapon of like a low to medium tier summer court officer.
All right.
Um,
Oh, okay.
You do notice several things about it. There is a family crest on the bottom of it, sort of hidden in the working of the hilt. It's also a little, just very slightly like dinged up. It looks like this was very well used. And actually, as you all kind of look at it, you can see it looks like this sword was maybe even broken and like repaired at one point. And the repair looks clumsier than the making of the sword itself.
What color is it glowing?
It's kind of like an ethereal, like silver green.
Okay.
It distinctly reminds you of moonlight.
Okay, yeah, that one won't hurt me. Not sure I want to touch it though. Mage handed over to get a closer look at that family crest.
So, as you examine this more closely, you don't like immediately recognize this crest, but there's definitely some weirdness handling this. Like, this isn't just like a, mass-produced, sort of everyday soldier's weapon. Wielding these swords, even if it wasn't like a super high honor, it was still noticeable. It was still noteworthy. This would be the human equivalent of like handling some person's like medals or something.
So someone killed a minor lord and took his sword as a trophy.
All right. It's not worrisome at all.
Well, I mean, not surprising given where we are.
Well, yeah.
Well, and you would know enough about etiquette to know that getting this sword back to the family of this individual would be very well regarded, and being seen with this weapon by the wrong people could be taken as offense.
Hey Cyrus, you wanna do a solid for human Fey relations and possibly get rewarded?
Sure.
Okay. Hide this sword until we can get back to the surface and we'll take it to the embassy.
Deal. Bloop.
All right.
Let's see, what else do we have? Armor that would burn the hell out of me. Cloak that would strangle me. Helmet
Oh,
that would eat my head.
I wasn't offering the cloak.
I'm just cataloging
Sorry.
what
Cyrus, like, this cloak is not for sharing.
That's right.
It's mine.
Wait, so this helmet is it bigger on the inside or is it just really dark?
It seemed to just be dark.
With a tortoise helmet.
Do you want to try it on?
Is there a stick on the floor?
You could easily like you poke something in there. It's fine. Nothing happens to it.
How stupid are we feeling, folks?
You can always make an intelligence check, or I guess a wisdom check. This feels like an impulse control question.
Wisdom's even worse for me. Oh, a 3.
It sure sounds like you're going to try that puppy on.
Pick it up and jam it on your head. Like, don't even pause.
Well, the scroll burned me, but this hasn't burned me my hands yet.
Put it on.
As soon as it settles into place, there's this dramatic, like, whoosh. Oric's human face is covered in shadow, and his eyes go bright, burning red like coals set in his face.
Did anything happen, guys?
The voice comes out, "Did anything happen, guys?"
Sound like Darth Vader.
It comes off easily.
Okay.
Uh,
Save that for intimidation.
Is it Dread Helm, I'm assuming?
yeah. From this second room, you're gathering the image of someone who was a very competent fighter, but also clearly vain. Like, you imagine that most of the other things you found in there are cosmetic.
Okay. I'm keeping the helmet so I can intimidate people with it. Lexi, you get to try on the armor.
All right.
I'm not touching anything that's burning.
Lexi's gonna try on some armor.
The armor doesn't burn anybody. It's definitely just illusion magic. Also, it's not really armor. It like doesn't inhibit your movement any, but it also doesn't offer any protection.
Okay. It just looks cool.
Yeah, you feel like these are maybe the surviving pieces of like duelist attire that this person used.
Say that he cosplay on his off days.
Well, you actually get the impression like this might have actually been for some kind of like, you know, competitive dueling of some kind among the soldiers, or maybe even have been some form of battlefield intimidation. And the fact that he took one of these swords, like, the folks who get these kinds of swords are not pushovers. To put it into game terms, that would be like a CR 3 or 4, probably.
Hey, Lexi,
Yeah.
are you going to keep the armor?
Do you want it? What are you gonna do with it if I give it to you?
Scare the crap out of these goddamn people.
Well, that might be interesting.
I have a plan, you guys.
Okay.
Armor and helmet. I can't wear the cape because Cyrus has to call dibs.
I mean, if you've got some Dread Pirate Roberts plan that involves the cape, I will share it.
I think I can pull it off without the cape.
I was just thinking of the scene where as it comes,
Exactly.
yeah, and the wheelbarrow.
Everybody make a perception check.
To find the wheelbarrow. That was a 16.
14.
Oh, not one.
Ouch.
So, Cyrus, I think you're distracted by the Cloak of Billowing.
Yep.
And Auric, there's something odd you're sort of playing with the helm. You're sort of bickering back and forth about the different items. Alex has been like reading through all these logbooks, trying to sort of figure out what's going on. There is a susurrus, almost sort of like a wisping anti-noise. This and you see sort of like over Cyrus's shoulder, the cape is billowing. Oops, no, that's not the right one. As figures start to move through the wall.
Lovely. We got incoming.
You guys can have your stuff back. We got ghosts? Question mark.
Something.
Let's get y'all a couple here. I really need to go through and rename all my tokens. I literally had to upgrade Roll20 just because I have freaking so many tokens.
Cyrus, behind you!
And a lot of them are not helpfully named. But noticeably, coming sort of out of the front here, you see an intimidating figure. There's these sort of wisping figures moving in the background. They almost look like soldiers made out of smoke, but they're being sort of blown in this unseen wind. But the figure in the front has a very distinctive helm over their head with burning coal eyes and smoldering armor, and a phantasmal sword held out in front of them. And it's louder now. This time it's this. And it's this sort of.
Slurping.
Well, and it's this sort of like. How do I put it? The language has a wisping quality to it. It's almost like the words are sort of spoken through like an inhalation. Oops, I found it and I lost it. And I want to need everybody to roll for initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's my nat 20.
There you go.
21.
Not a bad place to have it.
I rolled 4.
16.
All right.
It was almost a nat 20, and then it rolled over. And then it wasn't. Refill my water.
Alex gets a natural 3 for a total of 5.
All right.
All right, that definitely puts Auric at the top of the order.
Okay. So we have strange ghostly apparitions. I could. will. I will check my range real quick. 20 feet away. These rooms are made of stone, right?
Yes.
Let's see. Change back to.
Oh, I should move him. I said Alex was reading through the logbooks.
I guess I don't even know where I should move to, but I'm going last. So
Screw it. I am gonna magic missile. And it will be all 3 darts at the leader.
All right. Go ahead and roll damage.
That's a 5. Oh, wait. And a 3. That was cocked. Rude. And another 3 that was cocked.
All right.
So 11 total.
Your spell smashes into it, and just big chunks of it just out of existence. Whatever is sort of manifesting it is not particularly sturdy. Also, are you still wearing the helm?
Good question.
you had taken it.
I had taken it off,
off.
but I think I was putting it. I think I put it back on when I was trying to convince Lexi about my plan to scare people.
Yeah, you had.
The creature definitely it raises the hand that's not holding the sword and is pointing at you.
I point back.
All right. Anything else?
Let's see. It's muttering language I don't understand, so I will mutter language back at it that it doesn't understand.
Actually, make a perception check.
Oh, okay. 17.
You do understand this language. And the voice is weirdly hollow. There's no tone to it like you would expect. But it's just sort of muttering to itself intruders in the palace must defend, must stop the fairies. And then it just starts repeating over and over, my life for the Raven King, my life for the Raven King.
Okay.
I'll get that, or just Auric?
You all would still be hearing the sort of whispering weird voice.
Okay.
Auric is the only one who understands this.
Okay.
All right. Anything else, Auric?
I think I need the rest of my 6 seconds to process that.
All right. Cyrus.
All right. So there's a leader, and then 3 somethings behind him.
Yes. The third one you can't fully see, but you can see wisping streamers of it are just moving through the wall.
Okay. We're just gonna. I'm just gonna steady aim and ill omen for advantage and ill omen short bow.
Right into the leader's face.
Yep.
I like that image. So you you draw forth your shadowy bow and you take aim sort of in a crouch, and the cape goes. So roll your attack.
All right, so 26 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Deal 6 plus 9 for 15 total.
All right. You blast another huge chunk out of this creature. All right. Anything else? I say you can't move now, right?
I can't move. Yeah, and it's a bonus action to do the aim. So that's everything.
All right. The sort of wisping creatures in the back, they're almost moving more like a cloud of smoke in the shape of a person being blown into the room. And they're just going to blow on through. You see them drawing sort of these spectral, smoky longswords. And this one just moves straight through the wall towards Lexi like it can see her.
Oh, fun.
Whew. That is a 20 to hit and a 17 to hit.
For me?
Yep.
Yeah, that hits.
You're not raging yet.
I'm not raging yet. Yeah.
Minimum damage on the first one. So 4 damage and then 9 damage. And this is force damage. You are struck by the lingering idea of a sword.
Okay.
The one that was through the wall. It's here. It moves through the wall, passes straight through the table, and goes to attack Alex. It's also going to attack. Oh boy, it crits.
Oh, shit.
And a 14. 14 doesn't hit, but that crit is going to be nasty. That is 14 damage. But Alex will not take that damage because Alex cast Armor of Agathis during the last battle, and it never went off. So instead, this creature, as the sword comes down, this sort of misty, icy aura just sort of suddenly like explodes outward. Although the creature is immune to cold damage. But the flip side is Alex takes no damage. The last one is going to put itself between Cyrus and Auric, and it is going to attack each of them once. You're freaking kidding me. First attack is going to be a natural 20 on Cyrus. And against Auric, 17.
That is a hit.
Thankfully, they are not. Whew, that is 15 points of force damage to Cyrus, and
Uncanny dodge.
there you go, and 7 points to Auric. So I think this creature sort of, you've had your epic cape billowing moment, and this creature completely catches you off guard by passing through you. It doesn't seem slowed down by your physical presence at all. And as soon as it's passed through you, it slashes you in the back and then turns and slashes at Auric. And it is the boss's turn. Oops. Cyrus and Alex are going to have to make wisdom saving throws.
Oh, good. I've got a +0 there.
The creature just sort of like leans forward and lets out this horrible wail, and like the armor bursts into spectral, like illusory fire, and the eyes flare up, and you all just feel this pressure crushing down on you.
17.
Alex got a nat 1.
Ouch.
Used my inspiration and improved my 10 to an 11.
So Auric passed. Alex and Cyrus are now afraid. I don't understand why they don't just have like normal everyday statuses on the status list. Some of these imply statuses that I'm never ever going to need. Screaming. There we go. And a blue dot because his armor, or their armor of Gathus is still up. Cyrus also gets a screaming. And that is the creature's turn. It is Alex's turn. Alex cannot move closer to the creature, which actually pins them in the corner. And safest available route on each of its turns. Well, ironically, this just pins Alex in the corner. There's supposed to be a running away, and Alex cannot. So Alex is going to have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls and can't move. So Alex is gonna I think Alex doesn't really know what to do. Alex sort of panics, and you suddenly see all this shadowy energy swell up around them, and it forms into a massive raven. Oops. I know I have a giant raven somewhere. There we go. Okay, I keep dropping it. Nothing's happening. There it is. This giant black raven just bursts out of smoke, and it comes down attacking the creature that is attacking Alex. So they cast it as 3rd level. So it's going to make 1 attack. D20 plus 8. That is definitely going to hit. Oh, that'd have been nice. It does 16 points of damage. It's a powerful creature. So that is Alex's turn. Continuing on, Lexi.
All right.
You have one of these sort of wisping soldiers in the hallway with you.
Well, it hit me, so I'm pissed. So I'm a rage. Give me my. There we go. Rage. And I'm gonna smack it because I'm mad. That's a 16.
That'll hit.
Okay. And that's 14 damage.
Nice.
And I'm gonna slap it again. 25.
That'll also hit.
It was almost on the nat 20 for a second. Where it goes. All right, and that's 9 damage.
All right. Lexi bursts into this radiant amber fire. Noticeably, not the white fire that you saw earlier. Just pummels this thing. You literally smash it half to re-death.
Good. That's what it gets for sneaking up on me.
And back to the top with Auric, who is the only one not afraid in that room.
Good. So I have two different unrelated thoughts that I need to ask. First, Cyrus didn't hide, right?
No.
Okay.
That's correct.
And the boss spoke to me and I understood. Can I attempt to speak back in the same language?
Yes, you find that the words just... You've had this sort of structure of this language unpacking in your mind since you came in. And you feel it sort of coalesce. What are you wanting to say?
Well, since he's mumbling about protecting the Raven King, I'm going to say the Raven King demands you stand down.
Make an intimidation check with advantage.
Yeah, you do have that helmet on.
Good thing advantage because the first one was a 2. The second one was also a 2.
Jesus.
I'm gonna use. Can I use my inspiration?
Yeah.
Use my inspiration for a third intimidation roll, which is a dirty. Oh, it's an 18. Sorry, not a dirty 20. It's an 18.
There is a hesitancy as you start to speak this language. It's like any foreign language you haven't spoken in a long time. There's some rust. You're uncertain about the conjugation and the structure and the the participle agreement and all of those things. And it comes out a little quiet at first. And then you try it again and you kind of and mumble part of it. You take a deep breath. And when you speak it the third time, the stones under your feet thrum. And there is a tangible pulse through this entire room. And all of these figures are like blown back a few feet. And they immediately drop to a knee. And now they're all muttering. And again, there's very little volume to it. There's not a lot of intonation and emotion behind it. But they're mumbling, "Hail the Raven King. Hail the Raven King." Over and over and over.
I'm keeping this helmet.
Okay.
All right. They are out of combat. Cyrus, you are no longer afraid. Alex is no longer afraid. What do you all want to do?
Don't know.
I'm outside, so you know, I'm doing fine.
Did I understand? I still don't know what Oryx said, right?
Yeah, you didn't
Cyrus.
understand any of those words.
Okay.
Well, you understood me go, I'm keeping this helmet.
Right. Cyrus will turn to Oryx and go, so we can go?
I think so. Yeah, let's just get out of here.
Do you think we have to leave the stuff? Do they want it back?
Yeah, they seem a little busy right now.
Okay.
I will attempt to say in that weird language, return to your posts.
All four figures have sort of like drifted back together, and in sort of one motion, they all bow to you. The three sort of lesser spirits, it's like a full like from the waist bow. The other one does kind of a salute and bow, and they back into the walls.
Yeah, I think you can keep the stuff.
Wait.
I'm keeping this though.
I have the waste of a rage. Oh,
Sorry.
who knows? Maybe I'll find something else to hit.
As the creatures sort of wisp and fade back into the wall, and you can still feel that weird, like a phantom memory of that weird thrum running through the ground. You all are left in the eerie silence of the ruins under the Raven Palace. Far off in the distance, there are still faint sounds of combat.
Oh yeah, we should probably, yeah.
Go ahead towards that. Keep
And we
Keep it
will-
on.
That's where we will pick up next time.
Alright.
So I'm going to go ahead and kill our recording
Recording stopped.
and kill the stream. Bye, Internet.